I want to tell you something that the ancient Stoics understood deeply, something that most people today have completely forgotten. And it is this: the morning is not just the beginning of your day. The morning is the foundation of your entire life. Every single morning, you are given a choice that most people make unconsciously, without thought, without intention. And that choice determines almost everything that follows. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful and wise men who ever lived, understood this better than almost anyone. Every morning, before he did anything else, before he spoke to anyone, before he attended to any business of the empire, he sat with himself and he prepared. He prepared his mind. He prepared his character. He prepared his response to whatever the day might bring. And I believe that this practice, this ancient Stoic morning practice, is one of the most powerful things a human being can do. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what that practice looks like and why, if you commit to it every single morning, it will change your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. The first thing the Stoics understood about the morning is this: the way you wake up determines the way you show up. Most people wake up and immediately react. They reach for the phone. They check the notifications. They expose their mind to everyone else's agenda before they have even thought about their own. And from that moment, the day owns them, instead of them owning the day. The Stoic morning begins differently. It begins with intention. Before you touch anything, before you look at anything, before you speak to anyone, you pause. You take a breath, and you ask yourself one question: who do I intend to be today? Tia. Not what do I need to do today, but who do I intend to be? Because the Stoics understood that actions follow character, and character is built in the morning, in that first quiet moment, when you decide what kind of person you are going to be today. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, before anything else, pause, breathe, and set your intention. Marcus Aurelius had a specific practice every morning, and we know about it because he wrote it down in the book we now call Meditations, which was never meant to be published. It was his private journal, his morning practice written down. Every morning he would remind himself of certain truths that he knew he would need throughout the day. He would remind himself that he would encounter difficult people today, people who were selfish, people who were dishonest, people who would frustrate him. And rather than being surprised by this, or reacting with anger, he prepared himself in advance. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. This is not pessimism. This is preparation. This is the Stoic understanding that you cannot control other people, but you can prepare your response to them. And that preparation begins every morning. The second Stoic morning practice is what they called the premeditation of adversity, or premeditatio malorum. Every morning, the Stoics would spend a few minutes thinking about what difficulties they might face that day, not to create anxiety, not to worry, but to prepare. They asked themselves, what challenges might I face today? What could go wrong? How will I respond if it does? And by thinking through these possibilities in the calm of the morning, before they happened, they were never caught off guard. They were never reactive. They were always prepared. The person who has thought through the difficult conversation before it happens responds with wisdom. The person who hasn't responds with emotion. The person who has considered the possibility of failure before it arrives handles it with grace. The person who hasn't is destroyed by it. Spend 5 minutes every morning thinking about the challenges ahead, not with fear, but with preparation, and watch how differently your day unfolds. Marcus Aurelius journaled every morning, and this practice was central to his philosophy and his growth. Journaling for the Stoics was not about recording events. It was about examining the self. It was about asking hard questions and sitting with honest answers. Here are some of the questions the Stoics would ask themselves in their morning journal. What kind of person do I want to be today? What am I grateful for right now? What am I in control of today? And what am I not? Where have I been falling short? And how will I improve today? What would the best version of me do in the situations I will face today? You don't need a fancy journal. You don't need a perfect system. You need 5 to 10 minutes of honest self-examination every morning, and the willingness to be truthful with yourself about what you find. This practice alone, done consistently, will transform the quality of your thinking, your decisions, and your character over time. The Stoics were voracious readers. They understood that the mind needs to be fed just as the body does, and that what you feed your mind in the morning sets the tone for how you think for the rest of the day. Marcus Aurelius read philosophy every morning. He read Seneca. He read Epictetus. He read the great thinkers of his time, not for entertainment, but for instruction, for sharpening, for preparation. And I want to recommend something similar for you. Spend 10 to 15 minutes every morning reading something that challenges you, something that makes you think, something that expands your understanding of yourself and the world. Not news, not social media, not entertainment. A book that makes you better, a philosophy that stretches you, a biography that inspires you. What you read in the morning. Plant seeds that grow throughout your entire day. Choose those seeds carefully. The Stoics believed deeply in the connection between physical discipline and mental discipline. They understood that the body and mind are not separate. They influence each other profoundly, and that a person who is physically disciplined is far more likely to be mentally disciplined as well. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. And part of what you have to do every morning is move your body, not necessarily a long workout, not necessarily something intense, just intentional movement that says to your body and your mind, I am in control of myself today. I am not ruled by comfort or laziness. I choose discipline. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a walk, some push-ups, stretching. Whatever you can do, do it every morning, and notice how it changes your entire mental state for the rest of the day. This is one of the most powerful and most misunderstood Stoic practices, and it is perfect for the morning. The Stoics called it negative visualization, and it works like this. Every morning, spend a few moments imagining that the things you value most in your life were suddenly taken away. Your health, your relationships, your work, your home, your freedom. Not to create fear, not to be morbid, but to create gratitude. Because here is what happens. When you genuinely imagine losing something, you suddenly see how valuable it is. The coffee you drink every morning becomes remarkable. When you imagine not having it, the people in your life become precious when you imagine their absence. The simple fact of being alive and healthy becomes a gift. When you contemplate what it would mean to lose it, the Stoics used this practice to fight the human tendency toward complacency, toward taking what we have for granted, toward forgetting to be grateful for the ordinary. Practice it every morning and watch how your entire relationship with your life changes. The Stoics were deeply practical people. They were not only philosophers, they were soldiers, politicians, businessmen, emperors, people who had to get things done in the real world. And one of their most practical morning habits was this. Before the day begins, identify the single most important thing you need to do today. Not 10 things, not a long list. One thing. The thing that if you did it, and nothing else, would make today a success. Seneca wrote, "Let all your efforts be directed to something. Let it keep that end in view. It is not activity that disturbs people, but false conceptions of things that drive them mad." Most people start their day with a list of 20 things and accomplish nothing meaningful because they are scattered, reactive, distracted. The Stoic starts their day knowing exactly what matters most, and they protect that thing with everything they have. Identify your one priority every morning and protect it from everything else. I want to leave you with something that I think is profoundly important. How you spend your mornings is how you spend your life. I know that sounds like a simple statement, but I want you to really think about it. The morning habits you build, the intentions you set, the practices you commit to, they don't just affect your morning, they affect everything. The person who wakes up with intention becomes a person of intention. The person who wakes up with discipline becomes a person of discipline. The person who wakes up with gratitude becomes a person of gratitude. The person who wakes up with wisdom becomes a person of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius was not born great. He became great, and a significant part of how he became great was through the daily practice of his mornings. The same opportunity is available to you, not tomorrow, not when things settle down, not when you have more time. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, before the phone, before the noise, before the world takes over. Pause. Breathe. Set your intention. Prepare your mind. Move your body. Feed your soul. And then go out and live a day worthy of the person you intend to be. Do this every morning and watch what your life becomes. Now go.